Ever imagine getting a package delivered anywhere in the world overnight? Like, that was FedEx's big idea. And it's wild how they've grown, now reaching, what is it, over 220 countries and territories?
It's amazing.
So today we're doing a deep dive into FedEx Corporation, kind of using that value investing approach to understand their business, their management, and their potential for, growth as a company.
Yeah, and I think using that value investing lens, inspired by Warren Buffett, it really helps us cut through all the noise and focus on the fundamentals. It's not just about, what the stock price is today. It's about understanding the underlying strength of the business.
Exactly. So first things first, let's break down FedEx's business model, which is actually kind of fascinating because they have these independent subsidiaries that compete with each other, but also collaborate under, the FedEx brand.
Yeah, it's like a controlled competition, pushing each part of the business to be the best. But ultimately, it benefits the entire FedEx ecosystem, right? It allows them to cater to a really diverse range of customer needs, from express shipping to those complex freight solutions.
And their famous hub and spoke model. I mean, that's been key to their efficiency and cost effectiveness.
Absolutely, yeah. Instead of point-to-point delivery, they route packages through these central hubs, right? And it allows them to optimize that sorting and distribution process, leading to faster delivery times and lower costs. Think about it like an airline. It's way more efficient to have those connecting flights through major hubs rather than direct flights to every single destination.
Makes total sense. And speaking of efficiency, FedEx offers a really diverse portfolio of services. They cover everything, like express, ground shipping to freight, logistics solutions, and even like e-commerce solutions.
Right.
It's true. They really do. And it's not just about moving boxes. It's about providing those integrated solutions that simplify the whole logistics process for their clients, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that many customers use multiple FedEx services, I think that really says a lot about how deeply they've woven themselves into the fabric of, global commerce.
It's like a one-stop shop for all your shipping and logistics needs.
Yeah.
But let's kind of zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. I mean, the shipping and logistics industry itself is just like booming, driven by trends like that e-commerce explosion, globalization, and all these rapid technological advancements.
Oh, for sure. The global logistics market is, get this, projected to reach a staggering $6.55 trillion by 2027.
Wow.
It's crazy. And this incredible growth, it's fueled by a few things. First, the e-commerce boom has just drastically increased the demand for shipping and delivery services, right? And second, technology. Technology is revolutionizing how goods are moved and managed.
Yeah, it's not just trucks and planes anymore. It's like sophisticated software, robotics, AI-powered optimization.
Exactly. And all of these technologies, they're making the entire process faster, more efficient, and way more transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, globalization has just led to these increasingly complex supply chains requiring companies like FedEx to manage these intricate networks of suppliers and manufacturers and distributors all across the globe.
So FedEx is operating in this high-growth industry with massive potential, but of course, there's always competition. They're up against some pretty serious players like UPS, DHL, USPS, even Amazon Logistics.
Yeah, for sure. It's a crowded field. Each competitor brings its own strengths to the table. But FedEx does have a few key advantages that set them apart. So first, their brand recognition. I mean, it's phenomenal, right? That purple and orange logo, instantly recognizable worldwide, associated with reliability and speed.
It's a brand built on trust and dependability, which is just crucial in an industry where, timely delivery can make or break a business.
Absolutely. And second, their global network. I mean, it's simply unmatched. They've invested so much in building a robust infrastructure of hubs, distribution centers, and transportation assets that span, literally the entire planet. This allows them to reach virtually any market, and it offers a seamless experience for customers.
And you can't forget about their commitment to technology, right? They're always innovating, whether it's real-time tracking for customers or AI-powered route optimization behind the scenes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Their tech-driven approach, that's a key differentiator. It lets them operate more efficiently, provide better service, and stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
But beyond technology, they're also committed to their people, their purple promise that emphasizes their dedication to customer satisfaction and employee empowerment.
It's about creating a culture of excellence that just like permeates every aspect of their business.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the people behind the logo, right? The management team that's kind of steering this massive ship.
Yeah, so at the helm, we have Raj Subramaniam, who took over as CEO in 2019, and he's surrounded by this really seasoned team with such a deep understanding of the industry. But, more than just experience, this team has shown remarkable resilience.
You're talking about the COVID-19 pandemic, right?
Exactly,
Mm.
yeah. They were faced with these unprecedented challenges, and FedEx stepped up and kept the world moving, delivering essential goods, medical supplies, and even vaccines, all while prioritizing the safety of their employees.
Really is a testament to their adaptability and commitment to their mission, even under immense pressure. But beyond navigating crises, they've also delivered consistent financial performance, they've maintained open communication with investors, and they've earned a reputation for ethical conduct.
Yeah, it's not just about profits. It's about building a sustainable and responsible business for the long term. And speaking of sustainability, their reduce, replace, revolutionize approach shows a genuine commitment to reducing their environmental impact.
And that's just crucial in today's world. So how about their capital allocation strategy? Have they been making smart decisions with their resources?
They've been quite strategic, I'd say. They invest heavily in their core business, making sure it's always evolving and improving. They're also not afraid to make strategic acquisitions, like the purchase of TNT Express, to expand their global reach. And they haven't forgotten about their shareholders either, rewarding them with dividends and share buybacks. It's a really balanced approach that focuses on both growth and returning value to investors. So now let's dive into kind of the heart of the matter, FedEx's financial health.
All right, bring on the numbers.
Get ready for some numbers. We're going to analyze key metrics like market cap, revenue growth, margins, and debt levels to really gauge their financial strength.
So FedEx's current market cap is a hefty $61.21 billion. Looking at their revenue growth over the past 5 years, we see this like steady climb, averaging a CR of 4.78%.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's a healthy sign, right? Indicating that they're expanding their business and capturing market share.
For sure. Their profitability metrics also paint a pretty positive picture. Their gross margin, sitting at 20.84%, shows that they're managing the production and service costs effectively. And their operating margin of 6.27% indicates that they're keeping a tight rein on those operating expenses.
And what about their debt levels? Are they taking on too much risk?
Their debt-to-equity ratio is a manageable 0.73, which means they're using debt strategically to fuel growth, without becoming over-leveraged. So it's a healthy balance, reflects financial prudence.
It's all starting to add up to this picture of financial stability and growth. And let's not forget their free cash flow, which is a whopping $2.647 billion. That's a lot of financial firepower for future investments, dividends, or even share buybacks.
And speaking of dividends, FedEx offers a yield of 2.02%, providing that consistent income stream for investors. Their earnings per share are also strong at $17.98, reflecting their ability to generate those consistent profits for their shareholders.
So all these numbers point to a company that's not only growing, but also doing so in a financially responsible manner. They're generating strong profits, managing their debt responsibly, and rewarding their shareholders. But what's the market saying about FedEx? What's the sentiment like out there?
Well, that's a great question, and it's one we'll be exploring in the next part of our deep dive. We'll delve into market sentiment, analyze their ownership structure, and assess their risk profile through a comprehensive SWOT analysis.
Stay tuned because it's about to get really interesting. In the meantime, don't forget to check out the show notes for all the sources we've used today. And for all you stock enthusiasts out there, we encourage you to share your thoughts and any interesting stock suggestions in the comments below.
Yeah, let us know.
Welcome back to our deep dive on FedEx Corporation. So we just went over some pretty impressive insights into their business model, management, and, financial strength. But let's tap into the pulse of the market for a bit. What's the overall sentiment surrounding FedEx?
I'd say the general consensus seems to be cautiously optimistic. While the market acknowledges the challenges inherent in the logistics industry, I think there's this prevailing belief in FedEx's ability to navigate them, successfully.
Interesting. Courageous optimism. So a sense of both potential and uncertainty. What factors are influencing this perspective, do you think?
Well, I guess we can start with the analyst community. The average price target for FedEx right now sits around $321.87, with estimates ranging from a conservative $200 to a more bullish $372.
That's a pretty big spread. It seems like even the experts have varying opinions on, FedEx's future valuation.
Yeah, and I think it reflects, those complexities when you're valuing a company operating in such a dynamic industry. But it's worth noting that even the lowest estimates suggest a potential for growth.
So there's a general consensus that FedEx's stock has room to climb.
Hmm.
Are there any recent events or news that might be, contributing to this sentiment, maybe?
Yeah, there have been some noteworthy developments. The acquisition of RootSmart Technologies, that was met with positive reactions.
Remind me, what do they do?
Oh, right. They specialize in route optimization software. So this strategic move signals FedEx's commitment to, leveraging technology for improved efficiency and customer service.
That sounds like a pretty smart move, especially, considering the whole, growing importance of optimizing those delivery routes, right?
Mhm.
In this world of, constantly increasing e-commerce deliveries.
Exactly, yeah. But there's also news of this planned consolidation of their operating companies, and that's kind of sparked some uncertainty as analysts try to figure out the potential impact on, FedEx's structure and efficiency.
Consolidations can be tricky. Sometimes they lead to those streamlined operations and cost savings, but they can also, bring about disruptions and integration challenges.
That's right. It's a situation that warrants close observation, as we see how FedEx manages this transition. But despite these kind of mixed signals, one indicator suggests growing confidence in FedEx's prospects, decreasing short interest.
Ah, short interest. For those who aren't familiar, this refers to, the number of investors betting against a stock, essentially hoping to profit from its decline, right? So a decreasing short interest would imply that fewer investors are skeptical of FedEx's future performance.
Exactly. Yeah. It suggests that more investors are holding onto their shares or, even buying more, anticipating future gains.
It's like a vote of confidence from the market itself. But beyond just market sentiment, it's also crucial to understand who holds the reins of power at FedEx, right? Let's delve into their ownership structure.
Yeah, this aspect can really reveal a lot about a company's priorities and their potential for stability. So who are the key players in FedEx's ownership landscape? Well, we see a significant presence of institutional investors.
So just for our listeners, institutional investors are those, big players like mutual funds, pension funds, insurance companies. They usually hold large stakes in companies, and they often prioritize those long-term returns.
Yeah, that's right. And their significant stake in FedEx, it suggests a belief in the company's ability to, generate those consistent profits over time. It's a signal that these sophisticated investors, they're comfortable with FedEx's, strategic direction and long-term prospects.
That's reassuring to hear. But what about the individuals running the company? Do they have a personal stake in its success?
Yeah, they do. Insider holdings in FedEx are relatively high, actually, which suggests that management's interests are aligned with, those of the shareholders.
Always a good sign, right? When the people making those decisions for the company also have a personal stake in, in its success.
Absolutely, yeah. It really incentivizes them to act in the best interest of, all the stakeholders, not just themselves. It fosters a sense of accountability.
Now, we don't want to see ownership overly concentrated in the hands of just a few entities, that could create potential conflicts of interest, reduce transparency, stuff like that.
Yeah.
How does FedEx, how do they fare in that regard?
Luckily, ownership in FedEx is relatively well distributed. The top 25 shareholders hold a reasonable percentage, indicating a pretty healthy balance of power and influence.
That's good. A diverse ownership structure, it promotes transparency, accountability, and a more balanced approach to, decision making. It's key for long-term stability and shareholder confidence.
I agree. And it's worth mentioning that FedEx is also, highly regarded for their strong corporate governance practices. They've implemented robust systems and processes to ensure that ethical conduct, transparency, and, accountability are upheld throughout the entire organization.
So we've got positive market sentiment, a diverse and engaged ownership structure, and this commitment to strong corporate governance. All positive signs, but let's be realistic, right? No company is immune to challenges. To understand FedEx's position, we need to analyze both their strengths and weaknesses, as well as, the opportunities and threats they face.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where a SWOT analysis comes in. This framework helps us really assess FedEx's, competitive landscape and identify those key factors that could impact their future trajectory.
So let's start with the good stuff, their strengths. What are FedEx's core advantages that have propelled them to this, leading position?
Well, we've already touched on a few of them, right? Their brand recognition, their vast and efficient global network, and their commitment to that technological innovation.
Yeah, they've mastered the art of, moving goods efficiently and reliably, across the globe. What about their weaknesses? Where might they be, vulnerable?
One of their main weaknesses is their high operating costs. Running a global logistics network, that's an expensive endeavor, and things like, fuel price volatility can really impact their profitability.
Yeah, that's a good point. Fuel's a major expense for any transportation company.
Yeah.
And, those recent fluctuations in energy prices, those have posed a challenge for the entire industry, for sure.
Right. And another potential weakness is their reliance on the U.S. market. While they have a global reach, a big chunk of their revenue still comes from those domestic operations. So any economic downturn in the U.S. could disproportionately impact their performance.
It's a reminder that even a global giant like FedEx, they're not immune to those, economic headwinds in their core markets. But let's shift gears, explore the opportunities that lie ahead for FedEx. What are some of those exciting avenues for growth and expansion?
Well, the continued growth of e-commerce, that's a massive opportunity. As more and more consumers, shift to online shopping, the demand for those efficient and reliable shipping services will only increase. And FedEx, they're well positioned to capitalize on this trend given their existing infrastructure and expertise.
Yeah. They're practically built for the e-commerce age. It's not just about developed markets, right? What about emerging economies?
That's right. That's another promising avenue for growth. Emerging markets, they're experiencing that rapid economic expansion and increasing internet penetration, and that leads to a surge in e-commerce activity. So FedEx can leverage its global expertise to tap into these burgeoning markets and establish a strong foothold.
It's like a whole new world of potential customers, waiting to be connected. But alongside those opportunities, what are some of the threats that FedEx needs to address?
Well, competition, it's fierce, as we've already discussed. Companies like UPS, DHL, even Amazon, they're constantly vying for that market share. So FedEx needs to stay ahead of the curve, innovating relentlessly to maintain that competitive edge.
It's like a constant race,
Yeah.
right? To be the fastest, the most efficient, and the most customer-centric. What other threats are kind of looming on the horizon?
Regulatory pressures, those are a significant concern, I'd say. The logistics industry is subject to this complex web of regulations related to safety, security, and, environmental compliance. So FedEx needs to navigate all those, effectively to avoid, those costly fines and maintain their reputation.
Yeah. Regulations are constantly evolving. Staying compliant, that can be a real challenge. And of course, we can't forget about the ever-present threat of economic downturns and geopolitical instability.
Right. Global trade, it's highly sensitive to, those economic and political fluctuations. So FedEx needs to be prepared to adapt to these changing conditions, managing its operations efficiently and adjusting its strategies as needed.
It's a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
But we've seen how FedEx has navigated challenges in the past.
Yeah.
And we're eager to see how they continue to, evolve and adapt in this dynamic landscape.
For sure. Stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive where we'll synthesize all this information and we'll leave you with some key takeaways and a thought-provoking question to ponder.
All right, welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into FedEx Corporation. So we've explored their business model, scrutinized their financials, even tapped into that market sentiment, the whispers out there. Now it's time to connect all those dots.
We have uncovered a wealth of information, analyze those strengths and weaknesses, and consider the opportunities and threats they face. But I think the real question is what does it all mean for FedEx's future?
All right, we've laid out all the pieces of the puzzle. Let's step back, see that bigger picture. So what's your overall assessment?
FedEx is a powerhouse, that's for sure, in the global logistics industry. They've built a remarkable business. The brand, it's synonymous with reliability, and that network, it spans the globe. And that commitment to innovation, it keeps them ahead of the curve. But they're not without their challenges.
We've talked about those, high operating costs, reliance on the U.S. market, and of course, just the fierce competition in this space.
Yeah, exactly. And those are factors that investors need to weigh carefully. But let's not forget the incredible opportunities that FedEx is poised to, capitalize on.
Yeah, the e-commerce boom, I mean, it's showing no signs of slowing down.
Yeah.
And FedEx is like perfectly positioned to, be a major beneficiary of this trend. They've got the infrastructure, the expertise, the brand recognition, I mean, to like dominate this space.
Right. And as we discussed, emerging markets, I mean, that represents another massive opportunity for growth. As those economies, mature and e-commerce takes hold, FedEx's global network and that logistical expertise, those are like invaluable assets.
Almost like they've got a head start in a race that's just beginning. But to like win this race, FedEx needs to address those weaknesses we talked about.
For sure. Managing those operating costs, that's key, to maintaining profitability in the long run. And they need to keep optimizing their routes, streamline those operations and leverage technology to just maximize efficiency.
And that reliance on the U.S. market, can they diversify their revenue streams enough to mitigate that risk?
That's a key strategic imperative for FedEx. Yeah, expanding into new markets, particularly those with that high growth potential. That's going to be crucial for balancing their portfolio and reducing their vulnerability to, economic fluctuations in any one region.
So it seems like FedEx's future success, it really hinges on their ability to leverage their strengths, mitigate those weaknesses, and seize the opportunities ahead. But, it's not just about business strategy and financial metrics.
Absolutely. There's a human element here, that can't be ignored. FedEx's employees, I mean, they're the heart and soul of the company. And their dedication to, customer service, that's a major differentiator, investing in their workforce, fostering that positive and empowering culture and ensuring their well-being. That's going to be crucial for maintaining that competitive edge.
It's about creating a workplace where employees, they feel valued, they feel respected, and motivated to go the extra mile. And that kind of commitment, I mean, it translates directly into a better customer experience.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And let's not forget about sustainability, right? It's not just a buzzword. It's a core value, and it's becoming more and more important to, consumers and investors.
And FedEx seems to understand this. They're making significant investments in electric vehicles, renewable energy, those green initiatives to reduce their environmental impact.
I agree. Yeah, and those sustainability efforts, they're not just good for the planet, they're good for business. They can reduce those operating costs, attract environmentally conscious customers, and just enhance FedEx's brand image as a responsible corporate citizen.
It's a win-win for everyone. So after all this deep dive, what's your final verdict on FedEx?
Well, FedEx is a company with a rich history of innovation and a bright future. They have the potential to, continue to thrive in this really dynamic and ever-evolving industry. But investors, they need to be aware of, those challenges they face and those strategic decisions they'll need to make to maintain that leadership position.
Yeah. It's a fascinating case study, in business resilience and adaptation and strategic decision-making. And for those who want to dive even deeper, we encourage you to check out those show notes for all the sources we used.
And if you're interested in exploring more, in-depth analyses of companies like FedEx, be sure to subscribe to the Stock Analytics AI YouTube channel. We cover a wide range of stocks, providing those insights and data-driven perspectives to help you make, more informed investment decisions.
And remember, all the information we've shared today is based on our research and the analysis of our AI models. It's, intended for informational and educational purposes only. And it should not be considered, financial advice.
Right. Always consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into FedEx Corporation. Hope you enjoyed the journey.